1957, Frederick Douglass, so-called emancipation speech, said in great words, from the wisest people that ever lived, he said, quote, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom, yet deprecate agitation, are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, or it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Find out just what any people will quietly submit to, and you have found out the exact measure of injustice and wrong which will impose upon them. And these will continue to dare resisted with either words or blows or both. The limits of tyrants are prescribed by endurance of those whom they oppress." Meaning, anybody come with you a nice story telling you, you just put your name on this paper, and it'll be all good for you Hawaiians. You can get one check in the mail, it'll be all good for you Hawaiians. The point being, if we are a dominated people, the only justice we're going to get is the justice we struggle for. Because the oppressor will never give us the tools to free ourselves. They benefit too much from this domination. So we have to recognize that. Whenever somebody gives you an easy plan, they're taking you off course. Anytime somebody gives you something sweet to drink, you better go check that Kool-Aid. Because poison can be sweet. In fact, Kamehameha had those words himself, as he said when he unfortunately conquered this island. And he said when he came to conquer Mars, "Imu ay na poki, inu, ikawai, awa, aohe hoki hoyakuai." Come forward, my younger brothers. Let's fight. Let's drink the bitter water. Meaning, by nature, we don't like to fight. And fighting is hard. It's bitter. But you gotta move forward. So anybody give you that golden path, that's the point one, you gotta get the right analysis. The dominator will never free us. We can only free ourselves. You don't believe in domination? Go up to Puhakuloa. This is the largest live fire range controlled by the U.S. military in the Pacific. Puhakuloa, 50,000 acres of the land belongs to who? Our people. Hawaiian homes, you know how much they get paid for the use of the land? $1. You know what they do up there? Besides blowing up all kind of munitions? Depleted uranium, exactly. Depleted uranium. This is a war crime. They finally admitted that that's what they're doing up there. Even the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, last day, came out with a video to document this is what the military is poisoning our people right now. On whose lands? For how much? They're paying us $1 to poison our people. Think about that. And you think they're dominating people? Mauna Kea, Haleakala. You get it, 12 different countries have telescopes upon Mauna Kea. What do they pay for the use of that? You look at the money, it's already make you sick. And in fact, what you find, lucky if you get $1. In fact, what they give to Hawaii, they say, we give you time on the telescope. How many Hawaiians are out there playing with their telescope? Whose land is that out there? That's our land out there. And in Haleakala, whose land is Haleakala out there? But our land also. It was taken by the University of Hawaii in 1960, Executive Order, Governor Queen. It's still our land. And so you have developments upon Haleakala, pimped out by the University of Hawaii. But you have the Air Force who have the largest Department of Defense telescope on Haleakala. They're going to create, in fact, right now they're building the largest solar telescope on Haleakala. And in fact, let me tell you this story. I cannot hold back on this story. Great folks, National Science Foundation, into the solar observer. He's the boss. And he came to Maui about 7-8 years ago with his proposal to construct a telescope. So I sit right in front of him on the table. And as a student of people like Gandhi, Gandhi had a very important question. He said, there's 7 sins he talks about. And one of the 7 sins is science without humanity. Science without humanity. So I sit across Craig Forbes and I tell him, okay, as a researcher, what is the humanity that you want to propose? I tell him, as a Hawaiian, I got caught. One of our sayings, a couple killed on the Kani. Life is sacred to God Kani. And what that means is, all the cultural things we learn as Hawaiian, life is the most important stuff. Life. So I'm asking him, what is it? In other words, if you didn't tell me, you're talking about saving lives, you're talking about bringing life to people. As a Hawaiian, me personally, I can suck that in. Because I believe life supersedes everything else. But when I asked this person this question, what is the humanity? His quote was, well, all I can say is pure, selfish research. That's his exact words. Pure, selfish research. I wanted to reach across and choke him on the neck. That he was going to do that to our soul, not because of some important discovery to go save lives. Pure selfish research. See, that's domination. That is power. But I'll go back to that term. And just to say mahalo to those people on Hawaii Island recently who made a stand and actually shut down the election ceremony on the camp. And so action still goes on in Lahaina. Issues of genetic modified foods. How many of you guys know that Hawaii is the capital of this testing? We are the guinea pigs for these chemical corporations. We and our children and our grandchildren would have to face the consequences of what is done on these lands. Lands in which grow food, or should grow food, that should feed the people, are growing things like corn that we don't eat here, that are taken away and used to be planted so we can put, what's the kind of fuel in our gasoline. Highly profitable. How many of us have a say? We even voted to say a moratorium. And yet, it still goes on. And you still think we're not dominated? Questions of title. We know the stories. We know the history. We know the facts. Many of those lands out, especially even on the west side, we know they don't got no clear title. We know, like, for example, much of the lands on the west side in 1902, if I remember right the story, 1902, 1903, the Republic of Hawaii that became the territory of Hawaii claimed to have ownership of the Hawaiian Kingdom lands, and Pioneer Mill, for example, gained a lot of those lands. And then, recently sold them off. But we know from the very beginning, Pioneer Mill did not have title to these Hawaiian Kingdom and government lands, crown lands. How do I know? Really easy. You just follow the paper trail. It's all there. But see, as a Hawaiian, you realize truth doesn't mean anything when you're dominating people. Truth is something that we gotta first understand. We gotta teach ourselves first. Because truth is our sword. Truth in our heart is really what's gonna allow us this possibility so that we can regain control of our future. Sacred space, as Brother Andre right there, on Kauai. This is an example where the developer of a house in Haena wanted to construct his house right on burials. In fact, the way the state of Hawaii allowed him to do that was to encase the burials with cement blocks. And then to construct a house right on top of those blocks. Think about the inhumanity. Think about what other people in Hawaii, would allow someone to build and construct a house on burials. But it happens to Hawaiians. As I keep on saying, because we are a dominated people. The environment. This is our home. Every time we lose a life form, it's not something that happened before. We have life forms and endangered species disappearing right now. What power do we have to stop it from happening? Education is still controlled by federal policies. Policies that destroy the minds of the youth. Policies that still push agendas to kill the native. So we talk about self-determination. Unless you get control of the educational system, you got your self-determination. Language. You see, Miss Keely back there, where she's there, I see her back there. Aloha to Keely, Punanaleo Maui. Language, again, revival, restoration is really the core of our being. Language did not just disappear. Language was purposely targeted by those who took political control of Hawaii. Knowing fully fair how to gain control of the minds of the Hawaiians was to control education. And then how to control education was to exterminate the language. And all you gotta do is actually read your own language, with your own words. This idea was, if the Hawaiian language disappears, it's for their own good anyway. Water. Right? Oh, we just had that a couple months back, and all the Hawaiians were excited. Oh, we'll get some water back in our streams. My students already lost, check it out, all right? Halfway down, they realized, hey, the water never make it down. So we've been bamboozled. The system still refuses to understand. Water is a human right. Water is a right for the environment. You know, in history, it's only within the last 100 years that the water got flowing. What do you think about that? For millions of years, the water reached the ocean. But when we became a dominating people, the water became a commodity for those who could make a lot of money at the expense of the people and at the expense of our island. Sovereignty, self-determination. Let me go too deep on this one. This is a picture of the Department of Interior hearings that we just had. And to think that today you still have so-called leaders of the Hawaiian community, and these are so-called because I don't think they were appointed by the Hawaiian community. They happen to be Hawaiian. And they look at these testimonies. Overwhelmingly came out, put their nail on paper, saying exactly what they did not want. And yet, they turned their ear. These politicians, I would say, Kupuna said, Ilipo Kalani said, the voice of the people is the voice of God. The people